What is our reset date, please?
August the 27th.
Okay, got it. Thank you. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Judge Law, and we are going to begin with our misdemeanor calendar. These are relatively new cases. It's called the Expedited Accusation calendar for today, August 13th, 2024. These are cases in which individuals were recently arrested and booked at the Fulton County Jail. Upon being booked, their cases were then formally accused by the prosecutor, who is the Solicitor General of Fulton County. Hence, this would be the defendant's first appearance before a judicial officer. I'll be addressing each of the cases on a one-on-one basis. You will be informed of your new accusation number, the charges brought against you, who is going to be your counsel if appointed counsel is required, and to also set a bond. For those of you who receive a signature bond or a bond without any dollar figures, please remember that your case will be reset until further notice, but you are responsible for making sure that we have your correct mailing address. If you receive a surety bond or a cash bond, you would have to pay for the bond out of your own pocket, either through a bonding company or directly from you, and you will receive a court date. If you do not make bond, we will see you at the next court date, which today, your next court date will be August 27 at 9 a.m., and that will also be via Zoom or a virtual proceeding. If you're a defendant charged with one or more misdemeanor offenses, please remember that you have a right to remain silent. Anything you choose to say about the facts of your case, your statements can and will be used against you in the treatment of your case. This is a recorded and live stream proceeding, so please remember to refrain from making any comments, and if you have any questions, you can speak with your attorney. You have a right to an attorney. If you cannot afford one, one will be appointed to represent you. Okay, courtroom. Okay, the other thing is, if you are a witness, a victim, a family member, or so forth, please switch off your video and mute your screen. You can come on when you hear the defendant whom you're interested in addressing is being addressed. But right now, switch off your video and mute your screen. You may remain on video if you are an attorney or a staff member of the courthouse. All right, the host, if you could stop the video for Jen's iPad, we can start that later on. Okay, courtroom 2, who do we have, please?
Good afternoon, Judge Law. We're gonna go with position number 11, Mr.
Okay.
Leighton Morrison. He has private counsel.
Understood. This is State versus Leighton Morrison, accused of battery, family violence, a first offense from February 4th, 2024, case number 24CR5670B. Mr. Morrison, you've been advised of your rights, and Mr. Daniel is your counsel. Mr. Daniel, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Judge. It's always good to see you.
You too, sir. I think our pretrial officer is Mr. Howard. Any priors, Mr. Howard?
6. Last arrest was 01. Probation.
Underlying offense? Felony or misdemeanor?
I don't remember.
It's a felony. It's an old drug case, Your Honor.
All right.
This is my case.
And Miss Allen, yes, what's your recommendation?
The recommendation for bond is a $2,000 SOB through pretrial level 1, which I think he's qualified for. No violent contact with the victim in this case, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond. This is a delayed arrest. The incident is from February the 4th of 2024. At 11:30 p.m., police responded to the location, their home in Milton, where they met with the victim. She had some scratch marks on her neck right above her clavicle, and she reported that in the car on the way home from Rays on the River, she and her husband were arguing. They both said pretty nasty things to each other, and she reported that he struck her or was trying to strike her and scratched her on the neck, that when they got home, he left in his vehicle. Police spoke to him, and his version was obviously a little different. He reported that she was in his personal space. He removed her from his personal space and put her back in her seat. And he also reported that when they got home, she took his car keys away from him, and so he had to get a different car in order to leave the location. So we have one charge of battery family violence that we're moving forward with, Your Honor. We had tried to get in touch with the victim today, but have not been successful at this point. And that's where we are.
I have a Ray Morrison.
That is correct, Judge. I had her come in. She's contacted me and she's here.
All
And
right.
that's his wife.
Oh, just a minute, Mr. Daniel. Mrs. Morrison, if you would like to testify, you are free to start your video and unmute. Otherwise, we're moving on. All right, Mr. Daniel, any objection to the signature bond through pretrial level 1?
Judge, my only thing that I would ask is, Judge, he is a business owner for 20 years. He does a lot of traveling. I would ask for it just to be a $2,000 good bond and no violent contact. I think everything else is fine, but I would prefer that he be able to bond out so he can move around a little better than having to go through pretrial. I think that requires him to meet with them weekly and do a little more stuff that he might not be able to do.
Mrs. Morrison, if you'd like to unmute, did you have anything to add?
Hi.
Hi. If you'd like to add something, I'll need to place you under oath.
Okay.
Raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
Yes.
Have you all resumed cohabitation?
Yes.
And are you in fear of Mr. Morrison?
No.
All right, thank you very much. Bond is set at $2,500. It is a surety bond. No further violent contact with Rochelle Morrison. He may return to the Rolling Links Drive location, and he'll need to make sure that his address with the court is current at all times, and he'll need to come back to court when summoned. No illegal drugs, no alcohol consumption, and no possession of weapons or firearms. Any weapons or firearms that are owned by Mr. Morrison or in the marital home, they must be surrendered to the authorities for destruction.
Understood.
This is a family violence charge. He is not allowed to be in possession or own any firearms, given the open case. Thank you.
Understood, Judge. Thank you, Judge. And we have no further business. May we be excused?
Yes, sir.
All right, always good to see you. Yes, ma'am.
Just technically, I'm going to reset the case to August 27. It will come off the calendar if he's released on bond.
Understood, Your Honor.
All right. Thank you very much.
All right,
Sir.
good to see you. Have a good day.
You too. Next case, please.
Next, Your Honor, I'm gonna go to position number 1, Miss Allen.
This is Yuri Allen, accused of battery, family violence, and simple battery, family violence from August 12, 2024, under accusation 24 CR 5669C. Ms. Allen, you've been advised of your rights, and your attorney is going to be Mr. McLean. Okay. Any prize, Mr. Howard?
No.
All right. Miss Allen,
It's
Anna
mine.
Allen, yes.
Thank you. Yeah, that's my information as well. I have no history for this young woman. This was an incident that occurred on the 12th of August between 9:30 and 10 p.m. at 1325 North Point Drive in Alpharetta. Police responded there to the parking lot of the Sonesta Suites, where they observed this young woman who had gotten out of the car where this altercation took place. Once she saw the police vehicle, she took off. Police were able to stop her and identify her. She reported that she'd been in a car at the location with her mom, Mia Lee, who's here on the Zoom. We have not been able to make contact with Ms. Lee yet today, so if you could sound for her when it's appropriate.
Oh,
She said she'd been in the car with her mother, Miss Lee, as well as Mr. Richard Jones, and there was an altercation in the car. She said that her mother became angry and they argued. She said that she asked for the charger out of the center console and that her mother struck her in the head with the phone, and so she exited the vehicle. She denied striking her mom. When police made contact with Mrs. Lee and with the witness in the car, a little more of the information of the story was fleshed out. Mrs. Lee reported that there'd been a verbal argument in the car, that she had already taken the charger when her daughter had asked for it. She asked her daughter to sit back in the back seat, and the defendant became combative. The defendant grabbed her mother by the arm and slammed her wrist, striking it and causing visible bruising, which was seen by police. Mom hit the child back to get her hand free. And Mr. Jones, who was driving, pulled into the parking lot. The defendant continued to struggle with her mom, striking her in the back of the head and pulling her wig off. And this was witnessed by Mr. Jones, who also spoke to police. He observed the defendant strike her mother in the back of the head and rip her wig off. And so those are the basis for the charges, Your Honor. We've got a simple battery for a strike to the back of the head and a battery family violence for grabbing and injuring her mother's arm, causing bruising. She's got no history. We would be asking, well, maybe we would wait and see what Mrs. Lee says. We haven't had a chance to speak to her, but obviously this would be a pretrial through level 1 or 2, whatever she's eligible for, Your Honor.
Okay. Mia Lee, if you'd like to contribute to these proceedings, you need to unmute. All right, Miss Lee, please remove your hat.
Oh my God.
All right, please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
I do.
You all still reside at the Sonesta Suites?
Yes.
All right. And is the hotel allowing Miss Sayuri back into the facility?
Oh yeah, there was no disruption in the hotel or anything like that.
All
We
right.
hadn't even checked in yet.
And how do you feel about contact with Sayuri Allen?
I feel fine about it. Sayuri has been off her medication and she hasn't been in therapy in over a month. So she is having a few issues.
All right, thank you. Okay, Mr. McLean, anything else to add?
Really nothing much to add to that, Your Honor. Thank you very much.
Ms. Desiano, what's that case number you're sending in?
Your Honor, there's a private attorney here that messaged
no
asking
problem.
for the accusation number.
All right, sorry, okay. Sayuri Allen, for the battery family violence, your bond is going to be set at $1,500. For the simple battery is $1,000. Your total bond is going to be $2,500. It's going to be a signature bond through pretrial services level 2, which means that you will be reporting to pretrial services twice a month. While you are out on a signature bond, you have to have no further violent contact with Mia Lee. Mrs. Lee, is your daughter's, is she over 18?
No, she's 18. She's still a senior in high school.
She's over 18 years old?
No, she's 18.
How old is she?
She's 18.
Good, that's all I need to know. So she can sign the signature bond through pretrial. No further violent contact. Within 15 days upon release, she must undergo a MH evaluation and submit to any treatment and be compliant with all medication. And she will enroll in a domestic violence intervention program. And that must be done within 30 days of being released. This is a 24-week program, and you're required to enroll in these classes, and they will be at your expense. You must show proof to your pretrial officer that you have undergone your MH program by your 3rd visit, and by your 4th visit, you must show proof of enrollment in a qualified domestic violence intervention program. No illegal drugs, no alcohol, and no consumption. If you engage in any future altercation that involve the police, this signature bond will be revoked and converted to a cash bond or a surety bond. Thank you. All right, next case, please.
So she don't need a cosigner?
She's 18 years old. She can sign the contract with pretrial.
Next, Your Honor, we're gonna go through the position number 13, Ms. O'Regan. She has private counsel, Ms. Renee Rockwell.
All right, thank you. Ms. Lee, you're free to go.
Thank you.
Right, this is Sarah O'Regan, O-R-E-A-G.
Judge,
Yes, Ms. Rockwell.
do you mind if I stand down for 1 second on that? I will let y'all know when I'm back and ready.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Ms. Rockwell's not ready to address that case. May we move on?
Okay, we're gonna go to position number 4, Ms.
Yes, sir.
Yvette Chico.
Yvette Chico is accused of battery, family violence, and cruelty in the third degree from June 8th, 2024. Case number 24 CR 5654A. Ms. Chico, you've been advised of your rights. Your attorney is going to be Mr. Cook, Keith Cook. And any priors?
Third arrest. Last arrest I saw was in 1994.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Desian?
Good afternoon, Your Honor. This incident took place on June 8th of this year. Officers responded to Fair Oaks Manor and Riverside Drive in Sandy Springs regarding a shots fired. This is a delayed arrest, Your Honor. This is a case with between a husband and a wife. I actually had the husband's case in June, and I'm not really sure why this is a delayed arrest because the wife was also interviewed on scene at the time of this incident, and she was the victim in his case. But in any event, there was an incident on the roadway there. Both parties were inebriated. They were coming home from a water park visit. And when police arrived, they were called because there were shots fired by the husband in this case, who's the victim in today's case, Ben Rodriguez.
Mm-hmm.
There was a scuffle in the car because the wife was trying to get out of the car and the husband was trying to keep her in the car. And when the husband went to grab the wife, she took her phone and bashed his head with it, and he got a pretty nice gash on his forehead. The party's 16-year-old daughter was very distraught and was also in the car when this happened. The police determined that the husband had fired the shots and he was arrested for DUI. He was also arrested for simple battery, reckless conduct. Today for Ms. Chico, she is being charged with battery, family violence. And again, I'm not sure why this is such a delayed arrest because she was on scene at the time of this incident. However, we have been in touch with Mr. Rodriguez today. He states that the way that his wife was acting back in June was very unlike her. He says they've been together for 20 years. This has never happened. They recently lost their son, and there was an argument over the grief from that. And he believes that is the cause of, plus the alcohol. It escalated into something it shouldn't have. He says that he's been with her over 20 years. They've never had a physical dispute in all this time. They do have 2 children together. Of course, one has passed away and one was in the car during this incident. But nonetheless, he's not afraid of the defendant and he wants her back home. This case was, the husband's case was before Judge Morrow on SCA last month. He ordered no further violent contact. I'm not aware of any incidents since that time. I would be asking for no further violent contact as well. And given her very limited criminal history, I'd ask for a signature bond through pretrial. I would ask for, if possible, because she was very inebriated and the husband did say that it was very out of character and he thinks it was because she was so inebriated that there be a restriction on her drinking and possibly alcohol screens through pretrial. And I believe Mr. Rodriguez is on the line if the court can sound for him. Thank you.
No, I don't think you should say anything. He's got an open case, 24 CR 3572D.
Understood, Your Honor.
And for him to call her inebriated under these circumstances is kind of a big laugh. Ms. Chico, your bond is going to be set at $2,000 on the battery charge and $500 on the cruelty. It's going to be a signature bond through pretrial services, level 2. Within 30 days of being released, I would like you to undergo an alcohol and drug evaluation and submit to any treatment if required. You're not to consume any illegal drugs and not to consume any alcoholic beverages, no weapons and no firearms. You're to have no violent contact with Benjamin Rodriguez, and both of you need to make sure that you show up to court when summoned. All right, thank you. Next case, please. Am I going to some other location right now?
Your Honor, we're gonna continue with position number 18, Ms. Sullivan.
All right. I think Mr. Benjamin Rodriguez has a court date on August 14. So don't forget your court date, August 14. That's coming up tomorrow. Okay, move back.
Yes.
To Ms. Did you say position for
18.
18? Oh, sorry. Zakia Sullivan is case 24 CR 5667F, accused of battery and disorderly conduct from August 11th, 2024. Ms. Sullivan, you've been advised of your rights, and your attorney is Mr. Cook. Any priors, Mr. Howard?
38.
I'll be representing her today.
Oh, I'm sorry. Was that Mr. McLean?
Yes.
Oh, okay. All right. Sorry, Mr. McLean.
38.
38 cycles. Okay.
Open shoplifting out of the cab. On probation for trespass out of the cab. On probation for simple assault, family violence. What else we got? Also got us, 2023 FTA, 2014 trespass NOLO, 2012 interference with custody NOLO, and a couple of probation violations.
Got it. Thank you so much. Ms. Allen?
Thank you, Your Honor. This is a case that occurred on the 11th of August at about 11:55. So right at the end of the 11th and the beginning of the 12th of August, this incident happened. Police were responding to a different location nearby when they were flagged down by individuals. These ladies were fighting at a location at 29 Moreland Avenue. It's a location where people congregate and hang out generally. Police observed both of them engaged in a physical fight. They were detained and separated. The victim in this case, her name is Cynthia Gist, G-I-S-T. She was seen to have a bleeding laceration to her head. She was transported to Grady, or she was offered transport to Grady. I think actually the defendant went to Grady. Security footage was reviewed from the location, and it showed that Miss Sullivan was the initial aggressor. The video footage shows her advancing on the victim, and then they engage in a physical altercation. They walk behind a fence where they go off scene and then return again. The victim reported that the defendant had brandished a knife, but that is not seen on video. And there was actually a knife located on the grass nearby. But she is seen striking the victim multiple times in the head, causing these lacerations. She was put into custody, and then once in custody, she began to behave in a disorderly manner. She was repeatedly kicking the window bars inside the patrol vehicle. The victim in this case reported that they are acquainted through a gentleman that the defendant, Mrs. Sullivan, shares a child with. And when she walked up to the location that evening, the defendant accused her of sleeping with her baby daddy and assaulted her. The defendant was not cooperative on scene, and then she had disorderly behavior with the police. So we've got two charges, Your Honor: a battery for the assault causing a visible laceration on Mrs. Gist, and the disorderly conduct. We'd be asking for a $3,000 surety on each of those charges. No contact with Ms. Gist. Stay away from the location at 29 Moreland Avenue. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond. Thank you.
Mr. McLean?
Your Honor, we would ask the court to consider a conditional signature bond. If she could have a signature bond and be told to get on her meds and take her meds.
Oh, okay. Ms. Sullivan, on the battery charge, the bond is going to be $2,000. On the disorderly conduct, it's $1,000. Your total bond is going to be a $3,000 surety bond. You are to have no further contact with Cynthia Gist, and to stay 200 yards away from the location known as 29 Moreland Avenue in Atlanta, Georgia. No illegal drugs, no alcohol, and no weapons and firearms. Your next court date is going to be August 27. Of course, if you bond out, then please make sure that you maintain a current address for the court at all times. Thank you. All right. Next
Your
case.
Honor, we can go to ACDC.
All right, sir. ACDC, who do we have, please? Benjamin Rodriguez, you can leave the Zoom.
Good afternoon, Judge Law. I have two females here. I do not have the position numbers. I did not receive the calendar.
No problem. May I have the last name?
Tiffany Copeland.
Okay.
Thank you.
Let's begin with Tiffany Copeland.
That's
and for the two ladies at ACDC, please remember that you have a right to remain silent. Anything
Okay, sorry for that hold. We had to do another.
I'm sorry. Okay. As I was saying, for the two ladies at ACDC, you have a right to remain silent. Anything you say in open court, your statements can and will be used against you. You have a right to an attorney. If you cannot afford one, one will be appointed to represent you. Tiffany Odelia Copeland, under accusation 24 CR 5655D, is accused of battery, family violence from August 11th, 2024, involving one Toby Berry. Ms. Copeland, you have been advised of your rights, and your attorney is going to be Mr. McLean. Any priors, Mr. Howard?
Second, 2021 suspended license.
Thank you. Ms. Desiano, Mr. Cook, is that your client?
Yes, Your Honor.
Sorry, okay, so
No
counsel.
problem.
Cook. All right. Ms. Desiano?
Your Honor, this incident took place August 11th of this year. There was a battery call at 4320 Mulaney Lane in South Fulton. The victim in this case is Toby Berry. He stated that the defendant came to his house to grab some clothing when the defendant threw a silver vase at him, causing a bruise to his right ear. He told police that the victim does not live there. However, there was a lot of back and forth between the defendant and the police, and the defendant states that she does receive mail there and that she does live there and she has several items there. And she also told the police that she did throw a vase at the victim because he wouldn't leave her alone, and she wanted him to stop bothering her. Given her limited criminal history, Your Honor, the state's requesting a signature bond through pretrial services, no further contact with Mr. Berry, stay away from the incident location, anger awareness course, no weapons, drugs, or alcohol while out on bond. We have not been in touch with Mr. Berry today. If the court can sound for him, thank you.
Toby Berry, if you'd like
Yes.
to address the court, please unmute and start your video. All right, Mr. Cook, it will be a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial services, level 1. No further contact with Toby Berry. She has to stay away from 6320 Melanie Lane in Atlanta, Georgia, and she will need to update the court with her new mailing address within 30 days of being released. No illegal drugs, no alcohol, no weapons, and no firearms. She may return to the Melanie Lane location one time only with a police officer to retrieve her belongings. And then after that, she must make sure that she stays away from that location until further order of the court. Thank you.
Thank you.
And Deputy Francois, who was the other defendant?
Next case, Judge Alicia Henderson.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
This is position 9. Ms. Henderson is accused of battery from August 12, 2024, under accusation 24 CR 5659G. Ms. Henderson, you've been advised of your rights, and your attorney is going to be Mr. Cook. Any priors, Mr. Howard?
17, 2023, 2 counts of simple battery, 1 count terrorist threats. 2022 battery DV, simple battery conviction. 2018 failure to appear, and 08 obstruction conviction.
Thank you. Ms. Desiano?
Your Honor, I'm also showing that the 2023 simple battery, terroristic threats, and simple assault case is open. It's my understanding that's in bench warrant status. It's not on her jailing screen. However, she had failed to appear at plea hearing on May 15th of this year in Judge Mather's courtroom. That's 23 CR 4318. Your Honor, this incident took place August 12th of this year. Officers responded to a fight in progress at 227 Peachtree Street. When officers arrived on scene, MARTA police was already there and had the defendant detained. The MARTA officer advised that he witnessed the defendant with a stick in her hand, and the victim was in the bushes. The victim is Nafisa Johnson. She stated she was sitting down when the defendant approached her and accused her of sleeping with her boyfriend and leaving dirty wipes by her belongings. The victim advised the defendant then jumped on her and began to strike her in the face and used a stick to hit her on the leg. So she ran into the bushes to avoid the defendant. The police also spoke with the defendant. She did admit to striking the victim with her hands and said she couldn't reach her with the stick, but did try to use the stick, but was unsuccessful. The victim had scratches to her face. Your Honor, given her recent conviction for simple battery and her open simple battery case, the state would request a $2,500 good bond, no further contact with Ms. Johnson, a stay away from the incident location. I'm not sure if the defense would join if a BET may be necessary. I was looking at some of her history. I believe there may be an MH issue. anger awareness courses, no weapons, drugs, or alcohol while out on bond. And if the court can sound for Ms. Johnson, thank you.
Nafisa Johnson, if you'd like to contribute, you would need to unmute and start your video. All right, I see a Terrence iPhone. Could you lower your device and identify yourself? Lower your, okay, not connected to audio. All right, while we, no audio. Mr. Cook?
Yes, Your Honor. My client, to the extent I can determine, is homeless and is not working. She has no resources for a surety bond. We certainly wouldn't object to a BHAT, though, given the circumstances.
All right, thank you. On the battery charge, the bond is going to be set at a $2,000 surety. She does have a bench warrant, so we're going to reset both cases to the SAP calendar on August 27th, and that's going to be this case as well as 23 CR 004318G. No further contact with Nafisa Johnson and to stay away from all Marta property until further order of the court. No illegal drugs, alcohol, and no weapons and firearms. Mr. Cook, you might want a social worker to visit her to see whether an evaluation is required. Thank you.
Go ahead and have a seat for me. Judge, I do have a quick announcement for Janae Harris. Their case was dismissed.
Joe Harris III?
It says Janae Harris.
She bonded out, I believe. No, she. Yeah,
That's an
NOD.
NOD, Your Honor. She's not on your calendar.
Okay, all right. Deputy Francois, that case is not going to be prosecuted. Was there another question?
No, that was it, Judge. Thank you.
All right, you have a good one. Thank you.
Thanks, you too.
Court of two, are we ready with Miss, what was it, O'Regan?
If Ms. Rockwell is ready.
I'm ready now. Thank you.
I'll come back to you guys. Your Honor, what was the bond amount to Ms. Henderson?
2,000 surety, and we're going to reset both her cases. She's got another open case.
Thank you.
Sarah O'Regan is 24 CR 5662C, accused of battery, family violence, and simple battery, family violence from August 11th, 2024. Ms. O'Regan, you've been advised of your rights. Your attorney is Renee Rockwell. Any priors, Mr. Howard?
No.
No. And Ms. Allen?
Yes, Your Honor, that's my case. This is an incident that happened on the 11th of August, again, 12 p.m. to a little after midnight at 395 Matthewson Place, Matthewson. The police responded to a domestic at the location on scene. They met the victim, Damon Francisco. He reported that the defendant was very intoxicated and that when she drinks, which is an issue, she becomes angry and violent, that they had a verbal altercation and that escalated and she pushed him and began damaging property. He showed police footage of her grabbing and smacking the phone out of his hand as he was recording her and breaking items in the home. The victim was seen to have scratches on his arm or his hand, from being struck. He reported that there'd been prior incidences, but he'd never called the police before. He led police to where the defendant was asleep in the bed. They woke her up and escorted her out. She denied that there had been a physical altercation and said that there was just an argument, but admitted that there had been some drinking. We've been in touch with Mr. Francisco today, who ultimately just wants this defendant to get some help. He says that they live together, but there are no children, and he would like to have no further violent contact, and we'd be asking for a substance abuse evaluation and to follow through with any treatment recommendations, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons. And my request in this case was a SOB through the jail.
Okay.
$3,000 was what I wrote.
Ms. Rockwell, any objection to a signature bond, but this will be through pretrial?
So the court's not taking the state's recommendation?
Correct.
SOB jail?
Oh, no, I'm taking that portion. I'm just going to require her to report to pretrial in order to
Understand.
comply with an evaluation and DVIP.
Understand. So Judge, I have already identified a program for her to be able to take, the DVIP program.
Okay,
And
good.
we would ask that the court follow the recommendation and allow her to return to the 395 Mathewson's Place. I did speak with Mr. Francisco myself also.
Mhm.
So we would ask that you set that bond. And could I have the accusation number, please, Judge?
24 CR 005 662C, as in cat.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right. On the battery family violence, that's going to be 2,000. On the simple battery, that's going to be 1,000. Total bond is a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial services, level 2. She will be reporting to pretrial services twice a month. She's to have no further violent contact with Damon Francisco, and she can return to the Matheson Place location. No illegal drugs, no alcoholic beverages, and no weapons and no firearms. She will be subject to random screens by pretrial. While she is out on a pretrial bond, within 15 days, she is to undertake an alcohol and drug evaluation and submit herself to any medication or treatment that's required. Within 30 days of being released, she's to enroll in a 24-week DBIP program and attend all 24-week classes at her expense. Next court date will be sent to her current address, which I'm assuming is the Matheson Place location. All right. Anything else, Ms. Rockwell?
That's all, Judge. I'll
All
be
right.
filing my entry today. Thank
All
you
right.
so much. Thank you so much, Madam Prosecutor, and also Mr. Francisco. Judge, he's on the line.
All right. Mr. Francisco, free to go. Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Rockwell. Next case, please.
Your Honor, we're gonna go to the add-on calendar, and this is gonna be position 1 on the add-on, Mr. Janai Roberts.
All right. Thank you. This is State versus Janai Roberts, case number 24 CR 5672C.
Your Honor,
Yes, I'm sorry.
I'm
Who's
sorry,
for?
I had chatted to our host that I was contacted and told this needs to be a breakout for MH.
I didn't know that.
I found out he was the last one on there myself. Your Honor, that would be the court, the defense, the state, and the parent.
All right. Miss Deputy, we're going to take this case up at the end. Can we move on? Thank you.
Okay.
We'll take breakouts and waiver cases at the end. So let's take the ones who are in the courtroom right now.
Next is gonna be position number 2, Mr. Ricky Burks.
Got it? This is State versus Ricky Byron Burks, accused of battery and hit and run, failure of the driver to stop or return to the scene of the accident. Date of incident appears to be July 31st, 2024. Mr. Burks, you've been advised of your rights, and your attorney is going to be Mr. McLean or Cook?
Cook.
Cook.
Thank you.
Any priors, Mr. Howard?
I got first.
Okay.
Resident of Baxley, Georgia.
Did you say Baxley, Georgia?
Correct.
All right, thank you. And Ms. Desiano, I've read the warrant. What's the state's recommendation?
Your Honor, I'm asking for a surety bond in this case, a $2,500 surety bond, no further contact with Mr. Mardini. I would certainly want an anger management component to this as well. No weapons, drugs, or alcohol. This is a road rage incident. This is very disturbing. He followed someone on the road and was driving aggressively behind them, swerving, then hit his car, struck the passenger window. The victim pulled over, then he pulled over and then went over to this victim and started punching him repeatedly in the face. Our office has been in touch with Mr. Mardini today. He states that There is not too much damage to his car. He's not seeking restitution. However, he did go to the doctor concerning the defendant repeatedly striking him in the head, and he was diagnosed with a slight concussion, and he went home with some medication. He obviously wants no contact. I understand this is his first arrest, Your Honor, but this entire incident could have been completely avoided and was just so uncalled for, in my opinion. And I believe that this defendant is a danger to the community, and I would ask for a surety bond. And if the court can sound for Mr. Mardini, thank you.
Mr. Alfredo Mardini, I don't know if that's you. I only have one Alfredo on the Zoom panel. If you'd like to add to the proceedings, you need to unmute and start your video. All right, Mr. Cook.
Here, my client it's lived in the area for about 26 years. He's in construction management for 30 years. He's has a graduate degree. I don't believe I heard any priors. We would be seeking, we'd have no objection to stay away or no further contact or anger management. We would be looking for a signature bond at whatever level the court deems appropriate.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Martin, you need to
Yes,
start
I'm
the
here.
video if you want to say something.
No, I don't have anything to say.
All right, sir. Thank you very much. On the battery charge, it's going to be a $2,000 surety bond. On the hit and run, that's going to be a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial services, level 2. The total bond is set at a $4,000 split bond. Next court date is going to be August 27th. Mr. Brooks, if you pay for the $2,000 surety portion, then once you're released, you are to report to pretrial services twice a month. Even if you live in Baxley, Georgia, that's where you'll need to come report to Fulton County pretrial twice a month. You're not allowed to consume any illegal drugs, no alcohol, and no weapons and no firearms. And you'll be subject to random screens for alcohol and illegal drugs. And your next court date, August 27th, like I said, if you make bond, then report to pretrial twice a month. No further contact with Alfredo Mardini. You have to stay 200 yards away from him and not communicate with him in any way, form, or manner. Please mute your screen. Thank you. And furthermore, Mr. Brooks, you're only allowed to operate a vehicle if you have a valid driver's license, adequate insurance, and proper registration. Thank you.
Next, Your Honor, we're gonna go to position number 3, Mr. Jabbar.
Okay. Mr. Jabbar D'Angelo Carr is accused of simple battery family violence from August 12th, 2024. Mr. Carr, you have been advised of your rights, and your attorney is going to be Mr. Cook. Any prize?
Cycles.
I'm sorry?
13 cycles.
Mhm.
I got a 2019 something out of Florida.
Do we
Something
know?
something about a civil writ of bodily attachment. I don't know. 2017 battery DV dismissed. 2014 ag battery on a pregnant person. 2014 battery dismissed. 2011 burglary, damage to property, false imprisonment conviction. That's all.
Thank you. Ms. Desiano?
Your Honor, this incident took place August 12th of this year. Officers were dispatched to a fight call at 3227 Verdant Drive Southwest. The defendant actually called the police because him and his girlfriend and his child's mother were in a fight. The victim in this case is Janae Harris. She told the police that she came home from drinking. The defendant picked a fight with her because he felt like she wanted to be intimate with other people. The altercation turned physical. They started shoving each other. The victim went and got her best friend to come over and spend the night with her. The defendant was sleeping in the bed. The victim came home with a friend and asked the defendant to get out of the bed because she didn't want to sleep in the same bed with him. And he pushed her against the wall, and they started arguing again and shoving each other and punching each other. Both victims were arrested. Both the victim and the defendant were arrested in this case, Your Honor. However, after reading the warrant, the state's only pursuing charges against Mr. Carr. Judge, he does have a lot of history. I understand some of it's been dropped. I'm seeing an aggravated battery from Florida that I can't see the disposition for, but other than that, there are 4 other battery arrests that look like they've been dropped. And then, of course, he has that kidnapping and false imprisonment conviction. I would ask for a $1,500 good bond in this case, no further contact with Ms. Harris, a stay away from the incident location, anger management courses, no weapons, drugs, or alcohol while out on bond. I don't believe Ms. Harris is on the line because she was probably just released or she's still in the jail, but if the court can sound for her.
Janae Harris, if you'd like to say something, please unmute and start your video. All right, Mr. Cook, anything else to add?
Your Honor, my client denies the allegations as stated in the warrant, and his position is that she was the primary aggressor in this situation. So we would be seeking a signature bond, if possible, at whatever level the court deems appropriate.
This is going to be a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial services level 2. He'll need to report to pretrial twice a month. Within 30 days of being released, he is to enroll in a domestic violence intervention program. That's a 24-week program where he'll need to pay for the classes out of his own pocket. No further contact with Janae Harris to stay away from the incident location. So within 30 days of being released, he must update the court with his new mailing address. He's allowed to go back to the location one time only with a police officer to retrieve his belongings, and a third-party transfer of the child that they share is permitted. In other words, for him to share visitation and custody of the child he shares with Ms. Harris, he would need to make sure that there's a third party to facilitate transfer of the child.
Your Honor, I believe this is really his residence. I don't believe Ms. Harris lives there, and we would be asking that he be able to return.
That was not the information I had. Is Ms. Harris present to verify that?
Your Honor, she's probably still in the process of getting released from the jail since she was NOD.
All right. I don't have her case number or her jailing number, so I have no idea if her address is the same as Mr. Carr's, but according to the warrant, they apparently not only live together, but share a child.
And Your Honor, the warrant also states that she was coming home after being out with her friends.
So,
and they share a room together because he kicked her out of the bedroom. So or she kicked him out, rather.
Understood. So, Mr. Carr, so please keep in mind that you can only return to the place one time only with a police officer to retrieve your belongings, and then you would need to stay at a different location until further order of the court. Thank you. Next case, please.
Your Honor, was the cruelty to children NOD?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. And what was that bond amount again?
3,000 signature bond through pretrial level 2, no contact and stay away. Third party transfer allowed.
Thank you. Next, we're going to go to position number 6, Mr. Ricardo Garcia.
Mr. Garcia is accused of the following charges stemming from a traffic incident on August 12, 2024, under accusation 24 CR 5656F, driving while license suspended or revoked, possession of an open alcohol container, obscured or missed license, and possession and use of a drug-related object. Mr. Garcia, you've been advised of your rights, and your attorney is going to be Mr. Cook. Any prize?
26. 2017 driving without a valid license, no low. 2017, 16, 15, 13. Same charges. Convictions. He got a suspended license arrest as well. A resident of San Jose, California.
San Jose, California. Got it. Thank you. Ms. Desiano?
Your Honor, this incident took place around 1 a.m. on August 12th. The officer conducted a traffic stop on a Toyota 4Runner because the vehicle didn't have a license plate. The officer ran the defendant's license. It came back suspended out of the state of California. The defendant had an open and empty beer bottle at his feet, and when he was searched at the jail, he had a meth or a crack pipe that was concealed in his waistband area. Your Honor heard pretrial. He's got 4 prior convictions for driving without a valid license in Georgia. He's also got 4 convictions from 1999 to 2009 out of the state of California for driving on a suspended license as well. The state would ask for a $2,000 good bond on the driving while license suspended. An SOB jail on counts 2, 3, and 4 is fine. No driving without a valid license or without a license plate, and no weapons, drugs, or alcohol while out on bond. Thank you.
Mr. Cook?
Your Honor, we would be seeking an SOB across the charges at whatever level is appropriate.
All right. On the driving while license suspended or revoked, that's going to be a $1,000 cash bond only. The remaining charges are going to be a $500 each surety bond. This is a split bond for $2,500. No driving, and next court date is August 22nd. No illegal drugs, alcohol, and weapons. Next case, please.
You done. Next, we're gonna go to position number 7, Mr. Godfrey.
No, I lost position number 7. There you go. State versus Morris and Terrius Godfrey.
Yes, ma'am.
24 CR 5657J. Mr. Godfrey, you've been accused of the following offenses. They are battery, family violence, and 2 counts of cruelty in the 3rd degree from August 5th, 2024.
Yes, ma'am.
You've been advised of your rights, and your attorney is Mr. Cook.
Yes, ma'am.
Any priors, Mr. Howard?
It's 3rd arrest. Did you see the open cases in Odyssey?
Yes.
Well, that's all he has, those 2 arrests for those.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Desiano?
Your Honor, this incident took place August 5th of this year. Officers responded to the Elite at City Apartments at 4001 Lakemont Drive, apartment 21E for a welfare check. The victim in this case is Tatiana Sneed. She advised that her child's father and ex-boyfriend assaulted her in front of their 2 children. The defendant went through her phone and found pictures of her with another man. She was sleeping. He woke her up by punching her in the face. The officer observed the victim had scratches on her neck and her wrists and a busted lip. The children were both present, both initials NG. They're 1 and 2 years old. The defendant was not on scene when the police arrived. We have not been in touch with the victim today, Your Honor. However, the number we have for the victim is, I believe she shares a phone number with her mother. So we have spoken to her mother. She said that we can call the victim after 5 o'clock, but she does not believe that the victim's in fear of the defendant and states that she thinks that she wants no further violent contact. But if there is to be a third-party exchange of the children, that the mother is willing to be that person. Respectfully, Your Honor, given his open felonies, I did look at both of those cases. They are different victims for both of those cases. And it's my understanding for both of those cases that these are other mothers of this defendant's children. I would request a surety bond in this case, $4,000 good bond, $2,000 on the battery, $1,000 on each cruelty. Respectfully, no further contact with Ms. Sneed, stay away from the incident location, anger management classes, no weapons, drugs, or alcohol while out on bond. And then as far as the children go, I would just ask that the court defer to Superior Court and have the defendant file whatever he needs to legitimate his children and let the Superior Court decide what kind of access he has to the children. If the court can sound for Ms. Sneed, thank you.
Tatiana Sneed, you need to unmute and start your video if you'd like to address the court. Mr. Cook?
Yes, Your Honor, we have no objections to the state's recommendation. We would object to the anger management course.
All right. On the battery family violence, that's going to be $3,000. And on each count of the cruelty is going to be $1,000 each. Total bond is going to be a $5,000 surety. He's got 2 open felony cases involving allegations of violence. He's to have no further contact with Tatiana Sneed. He's to stay away from the Lakemont Drive location. Any contact with children that he shares with Ms. Sneed must be established by a Superior Court order through a valid legitimation action. Next court date is August 27th.
No, ma'am. Miss Law, Judge Law,
Yep.
4021, that's my address, ma'am.
Yes, I understand, but I also understand that she apparently lives there.
No, ma'am, she doesn't live there. She lives at 634 Wild Boar Court with her mother. She doesn't stay with me. That's inaccurate, ma'am.
Part 3. Okay. Let me see what the warrant says. Waiting for these documents to show themselves. So, sorry, I don't memorize all these warrants, so I need to have to look at it. There we go.
Yeah, my attorney trying to talk. Yeah, he got me to say. He ain't trying to talk. He ain't trying to talk.
This looks like she was sleeping at the location. The allegation is that she was allegedly attacked in the presence of the 2 minor children. Mr. Godfrey was not on scene. This was from August 5th.
Your Honor, I'm showing a Wild Boar Court address, but regardless, because we haven't spoken to the victim today, I'm not sure if she's living at the incident location or not. I would still ask for a stay away.
All right. I'll allow a one-time visit with a police officer to the incident. Look, I'm sorry, did somebody respond? No. Okay.
Yes, good afternoon, Judge. My name is Michelle Price. I'm the victim advocate, and I just got off the phone with the victim's mother, and she did confirm that the address is 634 Wild Boar Court.
Okay, thank you. So
Thank
she
you.
doesn't live at Lakemont Drive. Okay. All right, in that case then, like as I was saying, Mr. Godfrey, you're allowed a one-time visit with a police officer once you make bond to go to your location at Lakemont Drive to verify that that property is not occupied by the victim, and then you may return to the property. But in the meantime, as I was saying, you do have a $5,000 surety bond, and you have to have no contact with Miss Sneed, and I think that was it. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Next, Your Honor, we're gonna go to position number 8, Mr. Joe Harris III.
All right, Mr. Joe Harris III is accused of battery from June 22nd, 2024 from 24 CR 5658J. Mr. Harris III, you've been advised of your rights, and your attorney is going to be Mr. Cook.
Yes.
Right, okay. Any priors, Mr. Howard?
10th arrest. Last was in May for suspended license out of Woodstock. Possession of drug-related objects, possession of marijuana. Should still be on first offender probation for felony theft by taking. It's 23 SC 1888025. He don't have any violent arrests outside of this one.
All right, thank you. And Ms. Desiano?
Your Honor, this incident took place on June 22nd of this year. Officers responded to 3041 Landrum Drive, Unit 33H, in response to a dispute. The victim in this case is Cheyenne Johnson. She told the police that she loaned her ex-boyfriend $150, and on the incident date, he was supposed to pay her back, and he refused. When he refused, the parties started arguing. The defendant pushed the victim to the ground with his knee, punched her in the face, wrapped his hand around her neck, and struck her several times. The officer saw that the victim had multiple bruises all over her face, neck, arms, and upper back. The victim also stated that after the attack, she believes the defendant persuaded one of his friends to try to run her over with a vehicle. but she was able to move out of the way. Our office has been in touch with Ms. Johnson today. She confirmed the events in the warrant. She states that she would like the defendant to have some consequences for his actions, to teach him that he cannot treat her this way. She states that he needs to be held accountable. She has helped the defendant raise his children, but they do not have any children together. She is requesting no further violent contact. The only communication they've had since this incident was right after the incident. She states he doesn't come over, so a stay away is not necessary. And she said he's already on probation for guns and drugs, and she has admitted that she has been an enabler for him at some points. Your Honor, given the amount of injuries and especially the issue with the vehicle, that's very concerning to the state. The state's requesting no further contact with this victim, a stay away, anger management courses, no weapons, drugs, or alcohol. And given that he's on felony probation, Your Honor, I am asking for a surety bond, $2,500. I believe Ms. Johnson may be on the line if the court can sound for her. Thank you.
Ms. Cheyenne Johnson, did you
Yes.
want to contribute?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, go ahead and start your video.
Sorry, 1 second.
If the host please prompt the speaker to start her video. All right. Mr. Cook?
Yes, Your Honor. We have no problem with, no objection to stay away and no further contact. That won't be an issue here. We would object to the anger management courses, and we would like, nothing further, Your Honor.
All right. Ms. Daciano, is there any allegations with regards to the alleged running over with a vehicle?
No, Your Honor, I looked into it and I don't have any information about who this person was, or there's no other case pending for it. I don't believe it was charged at all, unfortunately.
All right. Last call for Cheyenne Johnson. Okay. Ms. Johnson, if you want to say something, you would need to unmute. All right. Did you want to say something?
It was something that was said that I didn't say.
Raise your right hand. Raise your right hand. Your other right hand.
Sorry.
Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Now, the allegation is that Joe Harris allegedly attacked you and had someone try to run you over. Is that your account of the events?
So I don't know. He didn't tell the person to run me over, but I don't know. The guy just did what he felt like he had to do. That was his cousin. I don't know him. He just felt like he had to do what he had to do. I'm not sure about.
So, anything else that you'd like to tell me besides the incident involving the car?
No, ma'am.
Okay, go ahead and mute your screen, please. Thank you. Ms. Harris, your bond is going to be set at $2,000. It is a surety bond. No further contact with Cheyenne Johnson, no illegal drugs, no alcohol, and no weapons. And your next court date will be August 27th. Next case, please.
Yes, we got number 10, Mr. Jones.
State versus Joseph Jones, case number 24 CR 5660F from August 10th, 2024. Mr. Jones, you've been advised of your right to remain silent. Your attorney, it will be
Mr. McLean.
Mr. McLean. Okay, thank you, sir. And Mr. Howard, any priors?
12 on federal probation for possession of stolen firearm. A couple of probation violations from 2012, 2011 robbery conviction, 2009 burglary conviction.
All right. Ms. Daciano?
Your Honor, this incident took place on August 10th. Officers responded to 2894 Randall Road, Apartment A, in reference to a fight. They made contact with a Kellia Tate, who stated that her friend, the defendant, took her phone and wouldn't give it back. The defendant fled the scene prior to police arriving, but officers did make contact with him at the intersection of Lyle Avenue and Randall Road. They gave him verbal commands to stop. He did not. They commanded that he give back the phone. He did not. And he refused to give the officers his arms when he was detained. Your Honor, I was going to ask for a signature bond in this case. I'm not sure if he's eligible, if he's got his open probation. So I'd ask for a surety bond if he's not eligible for an SOB through pretrial. No weapons, drugs, or alcohol while out on bond. The phone was returned to the victim, so we're not pursuing charges for that. Thank you.
Mr. McLean?
Your Honor, he was turning as he was being handcuffed. He turned in a way that the officer felt was obstructive because he was putting the phone into his back pocket with one hand and getting cuffed on the other. He feels it's a misunderstanding. He asked the court to grant him a signature bond, Your Honor. He has given me 4 emergency phone numbers, an address right here in Atlanta on Sims Street, and there shouldn't be any problem. He hasn't been in trouble in over a decade, he tells me, because we went through the serious charges that he had once upon a time. We would ask the court to consider a signature bond on any appropriate level.
All right. It's $1,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1. He'll need to provide a valid mailing address and report to pretrial once a month. No illegal drugs, no alcohol, no weapons, and to have no contact with Kelly, was it Kelly or Collie Tate?
Kelia, Kelia Tate.
Kelia Tate. Thank you.
That's prejudice.
Yeah.
All right, next we have number 14, Mr. Owens.
Jaleel Hallman Owens is accused of 2 counts of battery family violence from July 14th, 2023. Accusations 24 CR 5663E. Mr. Owens, you've been advised of your rights, and your attorney is Mr. McLean. Any priors, Mr. Howard?
Fifth arrest, 2022 battery DV. Cruelty in the 3rd, false imprisonment. That's open. It's 24 SC 002 706.
Right.
That's a good case, Your Honor.
Go ahead, Ms. Allen.
This is an incident that is a delayed arrest. This is from July the 14th, 2023, actually a year ago. And that may have something to do with the fact that the open case you just heard about in Superior Court, that false imprisonment and family violence battery, is actually against the same victim. Her name is Sierra Bell. She has joined us on the Zoom, so if you'd sound for her when appropriate. We have spoken with her briefly today. The incident in front of you from last July happened at 2 in the morning at 3687 Utoy Drive, UTOY in South Fulton. Police were dispatched to a domestic call, and on the scene, they spoke to Mrs. Bell, who was noted to have the bottom of her 2 front teeth chipped off, broken. She reported that she and the defendant had been off and on for a period of time, and he wasn't at the location when this incident started. They were arguing on the phone about the fact that his dogs in their cages were making a mess at her house. She started blocking his number when he became hostile. He showed up at her house then at about 12:30 a.m. and he was intoxicated. He came to get the dogs. He started arguing with her and then pushed her physically with his hands up the stairs into the bedroom, where he picked her up and slammed her on the bed. She was able to get away and run down the stairs. She got to the front door and yelled for neighbors to help. He actually came and grabbed her and pulled her back inside. I requested that this case be evaluated as a felony based on those facts, false imprisonment. I have not heard that. That could actually happen in the future. The victim reported that he continued pushing her around in the location and then thrust her into the sofa, where she struck her face and broke off the bottom of her front teeth. At that point, he became apologetic and tried to comfort her. She told him to leave the residence, and she ran upstairs and hid in a bedroom where she called 911. She said she thought the defendant hid somewhere nearby off the back of the residence, but when police arrived, he fled. Mrs. Bell was seen on the scene to have bruising on her neck, her chest, and the left side of her nose, as well as these chipped front teeth. She did refuse medical treatment and warrants were taken out. So there's a bond order in place that was just issued. Let's see. Requiring no contact. It's a cash bond that this defendant is out on for that 24 SC 002076 case against the same victim with eerily similar facts. We would be asking for a $10,000 surety bond, no contact with Ms. Bell, stay away from any location where she currently lives, no drugs, alcohol, or weapons. While on bond, Mrs. Bell and this defendant share a child. We'd also ask that there be no contact with that child unless a superior court orders that this gentleman has legitimated those children as legally their father. He has no rights to those children at this point. We did speak to the victim today. She reported the events in the reports. She confirmed them. She said the defendant paid her medical bills as a result of the injuries that he caused last July. She's got a new address, and she said they're still together, but they don't live together and they share a child. And she actually told our VWAP that there've never been any other incidences, and she was not in fear of the defendant. So we would be, again, requesting no contact with Ms. Bell or the child that they share unless otherwise ordered by a superior court judge. And obviously, this defendant is already in violation of a bond, and there's some concerns here, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right. Ms. Sierra Bell, if you want to, all right, Ms. Bell, please unmute. Raise your right hand. Do you swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
Yes.
All right. Are you the victim in another open felony case involving Mr. Owens?
Yes.
All right. What else would you like to tell me?
He is the father of my child. I do not fear for my life, and I do need his help and assistance in raising our child. So I would like for him to be able to see his child on a regular basis and consistent basis. Again, like I said, I do not fear for my life. My teeth have been fixed and he's paid all medical bills moving forward. That's about all.
Okay, thank you. On count one of battery.
Your Honor.
Oh,
Your
sorry,
Honor,
McLean.
What was the date of the other matter?
That's what I'm trying to pull up, and I do apologize, Ms. McLean.
Okay.
Speak.
The date was August the 8th of 2022, so a year before the incident that we're in front of the court on now.
I'm trying to pull that up. So the bond order was before the current incident?
I believe so. Let me look.
Was that your question, Mr. McLean?
Yes, Your Honor. I because it was a 24 CR, I was just under the misimpression momentarily that it might have been after this, but it was a year. It was the summer before.
Correct. So the date on the bond order is August the 9th of 2022. So this was a pre-indictment bond order. Since then, he's been indicted and there is an SC number.
Right.
So a full year after that incident, dealing with the false imprisonment and assault on this young woman with their child present, we got a July 2023 incident that's in front of the court today, while this defendant is out on his $11,000 cash bond requiring no contact. And I can send that to Your Honor.
No, I got it. Okay. All right, Mr. McLean, yeah, I have to concur with Miss Allen. I'm looking at it. It looks like at the time of this alleged incident from July 14th, there was already a no contact provision in place.
Your Honor, my main argument, of course, would then be that if that's the sequence of matters, I would rely upon the fact that there hasn't been any trouble in the last year, and emphasize that fact in asking the court to consider a lower bond, down to the level of a signature bond, perhaps. But if the court is not so inclined, than something in the neighborhood of 2,000 or 3,000.
Okay. On each count of battery family violence, it's going to be a $2,000 surety bond. That's a total of a $4,000 surety bond. Mr. Owens, you are already under a court order to have no contact with Sierra Bell in your felony indicted case. So by virtue of this July 14, 2023 order, you are in violation of the Superior Court bond order. That's something for Superior Court to decide whether they want to revoke your bond in that particular case. But in this particular case, you are to have no further contact with Sierra Bell. That means until you get a court order saying otherwise, you are to stay 200 yards away from Sierra Bell. By law, you're not allowed to have any communication, any contact with her. If you plan to have any contact with the child or children that you share with Ms. Bell, you would need to file a legitimation action with the appropriate Superior Court and get a court order to establish joint visitation and custody as long as they are in accordance with the bond restrictions of not only this case, but also with your felony case. No illegal drugs, no alcohol, and no weapons. And you're to stay away from wherever Ms. Bell or the child live. And you need to make sure that you update the court with your current mailing address, which cannot be the same as Ms. Bell. Your next court date is going to be August 27.
Hold on. Next, Your Honor, is going to be position number 15, Mr. Harold Roberts III.
Thank you.
Good evening.
This is State versus Harold Roberts III under accusation 24 CR 5664A, accused of simple battery against an officer and willful obstruction of an officer from August 12th, 2024. Mr. Roberts, you've been advised of your rights and your attorney is Mr. McLean. Any priors, Mr. Howard?
8th arrest, 2023. Failure to appear, 2019. Simple battery dismissed. 2018. Reckless conduct, carrying a weapon or long gun in unauthorized area. Entering restricted area of airport with a weapon conviction. 2016 DUI.
Thank you. Ms. Allen?
Thank you, Your Honor. This incident happened on the 12th of August at 595 Piedmont Avenue at about 4:30 in the morning. That was a Publix, I believe. On scene, the defendant was seen walking around the store, putting items into a bag, and then trying to leave the store with merchandise that he had not paid for. When police made contact with him, they asked him to do the right thing. Officer Geronte Jackson with APD approached. At that point, the defendant is described as becoming aggressive. He spent about 15 minutes based on the police report and warrants, being aggressive, refusing directives to leave the store. He approached Officer Geronte Jackson, got in his face, refused to step outside, then refused to leave, and then used his hands to push Officer Jackson away. Witnesses on scene observed this. Body camera was active when this happened. The defendant appeared to be under the influence. Once he was directed to leave the area as well as get away from the officer and stop being aggressive, he refused all of those commands. He was eventually taken into custody, Your Honor. Based on the history you just heard about is from Maryland, Virginia, and Georgia and Washington, D.C. There's a prior failure to appear in Virginia that was a guilty plea in 2023. In Georgia's where he went to the airport with a firearm in 2018. He does have an arrest for shoplifting that he pled no load to and a simple battery family violence that I didn't see a disposition on. We'd be asking for a $4,000 surety bond, Your Honor, to stay away from the location. Again, that's 595 Piedmont Avenue. Have no contact with Officer Jackson should they encounter each other, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond. Thank you.
Mr. McLean?
As Your Honor, as to that DUI mentioned from 2016, he prevailed in that. He wanted me to point that out for sure. Your Honor, he has a stable address. It is not in Atlanta, but it is a stable mailing address, and he doesn't have any trouble traveling back and forth, and promises that he will show up on time with no problem in court. For that reason, Your Honor, and given the prior arrest record, I would ask the court to consider a signature bond or a very low surety bond.
Are you talking about the College Park address?
No, his address is in Richmond, Virginia, but he has no.
Oh, we have a College Park address. So I guess he'll need to update the court with his new address.
He'll need to update that, but we have a correct address,
All right.
and there won't be any problem.
Residing out of state now?
Excuse me?
He's residing out of state?
That's correct.
Oh, okay, understood. Thank you. On the simple battery, that's going to be 750. On the willful obstruction, that's 750. His total bond is a 1,500 surety bond. No further violent contact with Officer Jackson and other members of law enforcement. And he's to stay away from the public store at 595 Piedmont Avenue, as well as stay away from all public stores in Fulton County, Georgia. His next court date will be August 27th. If he makes bond, he must make sure that he updates the court with his current mailing address within 30 days of being released. Thank you. Oh, no illegal drugs, no alcohol, and no weapons and firearms.
Your Honor, I wanted to ask if you can please allow a signature bond, only because I don't have any family here that can actually bond me out of here. So I was asking.
I'm sorry, sir, you're an out-of-state resident and you don't qualify for a signature bond.
Okay.
Thank you. Next case, please.
Next is gonna be position number 16, Mr. Trey Robinson.
How you doing?
Mr. Robinson is, this is Trey Robinson, accusation 24 CR 5665A. Mr. Robinson, you've been accused of 2 counts of battery family violence from August 12th, 2024. You've been advised of your rights and your attorney is Mr. McLean. Any priors, Mr. Howard?
I thought it was only one, ma'am. I'm sorry.
The warrant had 1 count, but when your case was formally accused, the prosecutor has now charged you with 2 separate counts.
Resident of Richmond, Virginia, 2020, possession of a firearm, and drugs. What else? Possession of a firearm by a convicted felon. 2014, reckless handling of a firearm, carrying concealed weapon conviction. 2016, robbery conviction. That's it.
The 2016, was that from Georgia or Virginia?
Virginia.
Yeah, I think it was out of town.
Miss Allen?
Yes, Your Honor, that's my case. This is an incident that occurred on the 12th of August between 1 and 2 in the afternoon at 6500 Aria Boulevard, ARIA, in Sandy Springs. 911 call came in where the victim, Alexis, ALEXUS, Brewington, reported that her ex-boyfriend had shown up at the location to get some items and attacked her. Dispatch was noted to be able to hear altercation in the background. On the scene, the victim reported that she was bleeding. Actually, on the 911 call, she reported that she was bleeding and she'd locked herself in the bedroom, and she identified the defendant over 911. On scene, police observed that the defendant was leaving the building through the bottom level parking garage, and he was wearing the clothing and matched the description given by the young woman on 911, and they detained him. The victim was interviewed on the scene. Her mother, Veronica Brewington, was a witness to this incident. The victim reported that the defendant slammed her physically around and pushed her and grabbed her by her neck. We did a strangulation assessment and determined that based on what the victim is saying, that she would not be saying she's strangled at this point. She did have visible scratches on her neck, and she had a busted, broken, bloody thumbnail. Photographs were taken. The defendant reported that nothing had happened, but once he realized he was being arrested, he admitted being involved in a physical altercation and then claimed self-defense. He reported that he lives in Virginia and traveled here to get some of his property when an altercation occurred. These are individuals who lived together and were together for a period of 5 years off and on, so this is family violence. The victim, Mrs. Brewington, is going to be on Zoom, so if we could sound for her in a moment, but she reported that there are no children between the two of these folks, and they're no longer together. She did confirm the events in the report, but again said, was very clear this was not a strangulation. She also says there's been no reports previously, but she is requesting no contact and a stay away order. The apartment number there at 6500 Aria Boulevard is 407. We'd be asking, Your Honor, based on criminal history, including robbery and firearms, that robbery conviction in 2016 included possession of a firearm during the commission, is a felony conviction, Your Honor. We'd be asking for a $6,000 surety. So that's $2,000 on each. No contact with the victim in this case. Alexis Brewington, stay away from the location, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond.
Okay. I'm sorry, I'm looking at this panel, SG Denise. I'm not sure what I'm looking at, but if you want to stop your video, okay, thank you. All right, Mr. McLean?
Yes, Your Honor. The coincidence here is that it's a Virginia matter, but these gentlemen did not arrive together. Your Honor, in this case, while there is a serious thing from the past, it was some time ago, and the arrest record, the GCIC, NCIC is not that extensive, although that was one serious charge from the past. I believe his mother is on to verify that he would be paying attention. He has a good, stable mailing address, that he would be paying attention to his court dates. And so therefore he would ask for, if he's eligible for a signature bond, if not a very low surety bond. He will not be ignoring this.
All right.
I believe the mother might be I believe that Trey Robinson on the actual gallery might be his mom.
All right, let me see. Is there a Miss Brewington on Zoom?
Yeah. Yes, Your Honor, I'm here.
All right, please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh my, look at those nails. Were those the ones that were broken?
Only one nail was broken. It's okay.
All right, and what would you like to tell us?
I would like to tell you that me and Trey, we just were having a misunderstanding. We recently lost my grandmother about a week ago, and I'm sorry to cry, but me and Trey, like, we don't normally do stuff like this, and I think that we just have been going through a lot, and we're grieving, so we just had a moment, and we love each other a lot, so sometimes we are very passionate about each other, but we don't have intentions to hurt each other or harm each other ever. We are very close, and we're like family. We met in high school, so we just have like our connection is just, sometimes it gets spicy, it's fiery, and when we're going through things, we have situations where we have disagreements, but this one in particular just got out of hand because we just lost my grandmother on August the 4th. So it's really been hard for my family, and I just think that it just didn't, for us, like, it never was supposed to get to this.
What are you asking for, Miss Brewington?
Trey's a good man. Like, he doesn't deserve to be arrested or locked up, you know, like, he was raised well. So I don't want that for him. And I'm not afraid of him. I just feel like we just had a disagreement. We don't have to be around each other if you guys feel that that is what's best, but I'm just letting you know what we actually have going on personally. He was close to my grandmother as well. So, you know, we don't do this normally. This is the first incident that we've had.
Understood. Miss Brewington, thank you. This is the first incident, unfortunate incident with you, but this is not his first run-in with the law. So I'm going to have to make a decision. Thank you for your comments. Please
Yes,
mute your
ma'am.
screen. Mrs. Trey Robinson, if you want to add anything, please raise your right hand.
Yes,
You
ma'am.
solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, what would you like to tell me?
I would like to tell you that my son is, he has had a run-in with the law previously.
Run in.
Yes, but I would like to let you know that he has changed his life around. He has a job that he's been working at for the last 4 years since the last incident. He is, he lives here right now with me and his father, and I will make sure any court proceedings, he's never missed court. He's never done anything like this before. And I just want to, if you could please, I'm in Virginia, and as a mother, my son was there just to get his things, like Alexis said. Him and Alexis been together for a very long time. And this isn't something that normally occurs between the two. Again, she lost her grandmother, which is something that's close to all of us. Our families are close, very close. And this has never happened.
All right. Thank you, Mrs. Robinson.
Thank you.
I am not certain where Ms. Brewington is coming from. I do appreciate the fact that she's here to support Mr. Robinson, but please keep this in mind as well. Pursuant to the warrant, this is a victim who not only called the police, but also was struck, grabbed by the neck, slammed, and then visible marks on her neck. And then she ran and hid herself in the bedroom and called the police because she was in terror of her assailant.
Honor, I never did that.
Miss Brewington, it doesn't matter at this juncture. I am going by the allegations of the warrant. All the attorneys on the screen know that I will consider everyone's input, but at the end of the day, I have to consider the allegations, the egregiousness of the allegations, and the defendant's criminal history record.
Yes,
all right?
ma'am.
And I'm done with you. You may mute your screen.
Yes, ma'am.
On the one count of battery family violence, that's going to be $2,500, and that's going to be a surety bond. On count 2, that's going to be a $2,500 signature bond through the jail. His total bond is going to be $5,000. It's going to be a split bond. He is to have no further contact with Miss Brewington and to stay away from 6500 Aria Boulevard, that entire complex in Sandy Springs. No illegal drugs, no alcohol, and definitely no weapons and no firearms. Mr. Robinson, you had prior convictions or open cases involving firearms. From this moment onward, you're not allowed to have a firearm on your person, in your home, anywhere near you, or in any vehicle you occupy. If you live in a home with your mom where there's a firearm, either you go or the firearms go, because you cannot be in the same household with a firearm. If you get arrested again for anything else, the prosecution has the absolute right to file a motion to revoke your bond and issue a bench warrant for your arrest. No illegal drugs, no alcohol, and no weapons. Thank you. Next court date is August 27th.
Your Honor, can I ask a question?
Sure.
I'm sorry. With the bond, you said it's $5,000. And
it's
I just didn't understand.
2,500 of it is a surety bond. The other one is a signature bond through the jail.
So he can sign?
Only on half of it. The other half, he'll need to go through a bonding company or pay for it out of his own pocket.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you. Richard Stinchcomb. Do we have Mr. Stinchcomb in the courtroom?
It's coming up now, Your Honor.
And Mr. Stinchcomb, Richard Lee Stinchcomb, is case 24 CR 5666F, accused of criminal trespass from August 12, 2024. Mr. Stinchcomb, you've been advised of your rights, and your attorney is going to be Mr. McLean. Any priors, please?
62. Oh, okay.
Thank you.
2023.
Oh, that's good. Thank you. Ms. Allen?
Thank you. Your Honor, this is an incident that occurred on the 9th of August. Police went to the barbecue kitchen located at 1437 Virginia Avenue in College Park on a criminal trespass call. This gentleman was in the lobby sitting down. He had been given a criminal trespass warning the day before. Police came to the location and arrested him. He has an extensive history dating back to 1992. But I would note that it has not slowed down. He just was convicted of a criminal trespass out of East Point, or is on bond for one out of East Point from April of 2023. He has a conviction 2021, many NOLO pleas in 2022 and 2023. Too many to count, public drunk, obstruction, criminal trespass convictions, Your Honor. In Georgia since 1992. We'd be asking for a $2,000 surety bond to stay away from the location at 1437 Virginia Avenue. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond. Thank you.
Mr. McLean?
Your Honor, I tried but was unable to get hold of his brother because he couldn't remember the phone number, but I do have an address. So he does have local family. He is a local person. His entire income, Your Honor, is from Social Security only. It is retirement income. His brother is in a high rise who is also in a retirement home. His sister willed him to have
a retirement home?
No, his brother is in a retirement home.
Okay.
And so he has local family and he has a stable address. And so it would be simply by emphasizing the nature of the one count of criminal trespass that I would ask the court to consider a signature bond. Don't know that he would miss court. That was a large number I heard with prior arrest, but hopefully he's not an FTA type person.
Bond is set at 1,000. It is a surety bond. Stay away from the barbecue kitchen. Next court date is August 27. Thank you.
Your Honor, I have a quick question.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Childers, booking number 2413628. Miss Allen, you might be able to help me out. His case was kicked down to misdemeanor, and then misdemeanor, I guess, tried to kick it back to felony. So he's pretty much bouncing back and forth. So I don't really know what to do with this.
We can absolutely address it. I've been trying to talk to someone about it.
If you can put the jailing number in there, please, we'll be able to address that.
He's got two booking numbers, Your Honor, that I think is what's confusing people. He's got very similar warrants for two different cases, one from October the 2nd and one from October the 5th of last year. Booking number.
Go ahead.
So the one he was just arrested on from October the 5th, he's got a bunch of warrants, 2413628.
I got it right here.
All right.
And then he has this similar charges from October the 2nd, and that's related to booking number 2412245.
All right.
The charges from October the 2nd were dismissed by the felony level Superior Court. He has an open pre-file case for some felonies from October the 5th, and the remaining misdemeanors that have the same date of incident should all be with the same case.
All right. So while we're looking that up, because obviously this is brand new, Deputy, may I ask, we have Vincent Moss. I think we've already addressed that. No, we haven't. That's the breakout case, correct?
Yeah, we have two waivers and we have a breakout, Your Honor.
All right. And Anil Yakula, have we addressed that?
The breakout case, last name Roberts.
Okay.
J. Roberts.
I'm asking about Anil Yakula, position 19.
That's going to be a waiver.
All right. Yakula is a waiver. Roberts is a breakout. And what is the other waiver?
A Moss, position number 12. That's a waiver.
Waiver. Okay. All right, while we're pulling, Mr. McLean or Mr. Cook, have you spoken to this Mr. Childers?
I was wondering, is the Moss waiver a pro se waiver? I did speak to him.
I don't know. I'm asking about the individual who's sitting in courtroom 2 right now.
I've not talked to him. I was not aware of him.
Okay. Let's do the waivers first.
Your Honor, Childers spoke to McLean.
Okay.
Okay, all right. Mr. McLean, which case is yours? Roberts? Is that the one?
Janai Roberts, Your Honor. Yes, that's the break.
All right, if you could start your video, please. Would the host please place me, Mr. McLean, and Miss Allen? Mr. Howard, any priors on Mr. Roberts? Janai Roberts?
Fourth arrest, 2021 shoplifting. On probation for cruelty to animals. It's 21 SC 177735.
Thank you. All right. Deputy, we are addressing Janai Roberts. We will be back with him shortly after our breakout. Yep. All right, we'll be.
Is the parent of Janai Roberts on the Zoom?
Yes.
What's your name?
Alexis Roberts is the father, and Missouri Carr is the mother.
Parent, what's your name?
Alexis Roberts is the father, that's me. And the mother is Missouri Carr. She's here as well.
Hey, Casey.
Yes.
Yeah. his mother is Carr, Mazora Carr, and his father is actually under the Samsung SM9.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
May we address Janae Roberts, please?
My name is Janai, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Janai Roberts, after having a breakout session with your defense counsel, the prosecutor, and your parents, your bond is presently set at 9,000 surety bond. Your next court date is August 27. You are to have no further contact with A. Booth and stay away from the Village Church at 3418 Dogwood Drive in Hapeville, Georgia. No illegal drugs, no alcohol, and no firearms and no weapons. You're not allowed to have a firearm on your person, in your home, or anywhere near you. Your next court date is August 27th. Your attorney and the prosecution, as well as your parents, will determine whether you may be receiving any kind of alternative treatment so as to be subject to a release. Thank you.
Can I say something, Your Honor, please?
Your each count is going to be $3,000. That's a surety bond.
May I say something, Your Honor, please?
You have a right to remain silent. Anything that you say in open court, your statements can and will be used against you. I would highly recommend you exercise your right to remain silent because number one, you have an open probation case, which is subject to revocation because of this arrest. So I would not recommend you say anything at this time. Thank you.
What was the bond?
I do want to say something though, Your Honor.
All right, if you wish to waive your right to remain silent, Mr. McLean, is he on Zoom?
I think he was talking to this young man's parents, and he'll probably pop back in.
Miss
Strong.
Miss Strong, if you could close out that breakout room, please.
Okay. They had 60 seconds, Judge. You should be coming back in a second.
Deputy, do we have anyone else to address in the courtroom?
Just the Mr. Childers, which should be an add-on.
Oh, that's right. Okay, just FYI on position one, Alan Sayuri Allen, that's a 2,500 signature bond through pre-trial. Position two, Ricky Burke. Okay, good. They are back. Mr. McLean? Mr. McLean? Your client, Mr.
Roberts?
Roberts, wants to say something. So I've advised him of his right to remain silent.
I'll come to the jail and talk with him.
All right, Mr. Roberts, your attorney will come to the jail and speak with you. Would you like to exercise your right to remain silent?
You said he's coming here to speak to me?
You will come and speak with you shortly. All right.
I'm coming down to see you when court's over with. I've got to fix up a little paperwork and then I'm coming to see you.
Yes, I would still like to say something, Your Honor.
No, don't. Mr. Roberts, I will come talk to you. Thank you.
Thank you. Next case, please.
Come on. You should have said so. Come on.
I already said what I wanted to say, Judge. I have the right to say what I want to say, correct?
Yes, you're absolutely right.
Okay, and I also have the right to remain silent as well, right?
Do you want to exercise your right to remain silent?
No, I would like to at least speak up for myself a little bit.
Go ahead, if you want to.
With what my father has told you guys about my mental health is accurate. I have bipolar disorder.
You cannot discuss your medical condition in open court. We've already discussed that in a breakout.
I didn't know.
If you agree with that you are currently under an MH situation, yes, I'm familiar with it.
Okay, I didn't know I couldn't speak on that. That's my apologies. as well. With everything that's going on with me mentally, that didn't have anything to do with this case, only because I wasn't acting in no strange or mental way at all. My girlfriend, Jay, she's also on the call. She was there from the time that we got there to the time that we left. And I was also on with another witness as well. Her name is Ray.
What are you
Was,
trying to ask the court? What are you asking the court?
I'm asking the court, if possible, if I can get a signature bond, so that way later in the future, I can actually come back and defend myself the proper way with the proper evidence that I already have and the proper proof that I already have that will show that I didn't make a terroristic threat to the victim at all. If anything, she has made multiple threats to me, and I have screenshots and videos to prove it as well.
All right. This is what we call a dispute in the facts. And you will definitely have your day in court in order to challenge and confront your accuser, as well as have the assistance of counsel to present any defenses or mitigating factors on your arguments as well. But in the meantime, given the nature of the warrants, nature of the allegations, these are a dispute in facts, and that's not something I can resolve today. But I can set a bond, and I'm going to deny you a signature bond based on the allegations set forth in the warrants. Thank you.
Okay, so the bond is still remains the same, correct, Your Honor? Okay, thank you. That's all I wanted to say. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Mr. Childer's case. I know I wrote down the booking number. Oh, there we go. All right. I'm going with jail number 2413628. And Miss Allen, are we planning to accuse these cases shortly?
I mean, I guess if that's what I have to do, those charges are related to a felony PI case. And I asked about it. I just haven't heard back. So let's see if I can find it.
All right. Mr. Jaron, Jarron Childers. Case date of birth is December 7th, 1997. You currently have a booking number 2413628, in which you have the following charges: hit and run, possession of marijuana, and under case 24 PF 006471, in which there is no bond set. You also have a fugitive hold from Tuscaloosa under 231222725. Please remember that you have a right to remain silent. Anything you say in open court, your statements can and will be used against you in the treatment of your case. With regards to your second booking number, 2412245. I don't have that booking. Did I write down the wrong number?
No, it's 2412245, I believe. Let me.
It says no match found.
Your Honor, if you're under fine a jailing.
Yeah, I'm looking at jailing.
If you're under fine a jailing, if it's not a current jailing, it will tell you no match. So you have to.
So I'm just going to go with what I have right now. And it looks like his other charges are driving while license suspended, expired tag, obstructing or hindering and driving the wrong way. Looks like he was arrested on August 11th at 10:45 a.m. Today's the 13th. And let me see, what else do I have? All right, so with regards to the prosecution, what would you like to do at the present time?
I can charge the misdemeanors that I was asked about. Do you see 24 PF 006471 related to this young man?
Yes, I do.
That is an incident from October the 5th, which is what these warrants are from in front of you. So it was our contention that all the warrants for all the incidences related to his fleeing from the police and driving from October the 5th should be with that case. I think people are confused because he's got very similar charges in the booking 2412245 that he was booked and released on August the 11th already, when the DA dismissed those charges. They're two different incidences, but I can move forward with the misdemeanor charges that we have and go ahead and file those down. I just think it's a mistake.
Mr. McLean, you spoke to Mr. Childers. Anything to add?
Your Honor, he did tell me about how he was released from jail on similar charges last Friday, and that this he will be providing his explanation as to his behavior and actions. But I would like to just mention that it is October 2023, and he works in a warehouse, and we'll be hiring private counsel to represent him at trial.
All right. With regards to, he's got a fugitive hold with Tuscaloosa, so he's not going anywhere until Tuscaloosa comes and picks him up. With regard to the hit and run, Miss Bridgewater will have to go with the booking number, and the booking number is 2413628.
2413628. Okay. It is a hit and run.
Hit and run is $1,000 surety. Possession of marijuana is 500 signature bond through the jail.
Okay.
Driving while license suspended or revoked is a $500 surety bond. Expired tag is a 500 signature bond through the jail. Obstructing or hindering a law enforcement is going to be $1,000 surety. And driving the wrong way is $1,000 surety. Could you add that up for me, please?
The driving the wrong way is how much?
$1,000 surety.
Okay, I have 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 4,500 split bond.
All right, that's correct. No driving unless he has a valid driver's license, adequate insurance, and proper registration. Next court date is going to be August 27, subject to the state filing his accusation by tomorrow, whenever you all decide to.
Okay, I have no paperwork, nothing on this gentleman. What is his name? At least let me put that on.
I'll send you the package of warrants that I have.
Okay, would you please?
Name is Jaron, Jarron. Last name is Childers, Childers. Date of birth is December 7th, 1997.
Okay, but I have his booking number, but I do not have a case number, so it'll be accused and I'll get it then. But in the meantime, I'll fill out this bond order and send it over to you, Your Honor.
All right.
And I'll work on it as well.
Thank you.
All right. Deputy, do we have any other cases? Mr. Moss? With the other
I have 2. I show that we're missing.
We have 2, position 12 and position 19, 2 waivers.
Absolutely, yes.
Vincent Moss is 24 CR 5661C, accused of 2 counts of battery family violence from July 17th, 2024. And Mr. Moss's appearance has been waived by counsel. Mr. McLean, any priors, Mr. Howard?
Yes, that's what I was questioning. I did interview him. I had no idea he was wanting a waiver.
Oh. We don't have him in the courtroom.
Your Honor, he can't be brought to the courtroom. He was brought to the courtroom in error. He's actually in quarantine.
Oh, that's the quarantine guy. Yeah, I remember him.
It's two that's in quarantine, Mike. It's two. Position 19 is in quarantine and also position 12.
Right. So it's not really a waiver, it's just a quarantine.
All right. Would you like to address both cases tomorrow then? It will be a medical reset where you can then file a waiver of their appearance and we can address bond.
Sure.
All right. Vincent Moss, position number 12, is going to be reset to tomorrow, which is going to be August 14th. And Mr. McLean, if you are representing him tomorrow, please advise whether you'll be filing a waiver of his appearance due to his medical condition. Otherwise, he'll just have to be reset until he can be out of quarantine to appear in court. And this is not a Riverside issue.
How many days does this quarantine go on?
I don't know, sir. I've never had COVID, so.
It's between 5 and 10 days.
Touch wood, I've never had COVID.
Between 5 and 10 days.
Yeah, I've always heard 5. Okay.
Okay. All right, Mr. McLean, am I still resetting it to tomorrow?
Yes, I'll see him.
And then what was the other case?
19.
Miss Anil Yakula. Would you like to address that tomorrow, Mr. McLean, or would you like to?
I haven't met them, but I will go, since I'm going to jail anyway, I might as well go there. Are they at Rice Street?
Deputy, are they both at Rice Street?
Mr. Moss is at Rice Street.
Yakula. Anil.
And Yakula is at Rice Street. They're both here.
Okay.
Very good. Okay.
Will be reset to August 14th at 2 p.m. No Riverside issue. All right. Deputy, thank you so much. Let me just go through the calendar. On the add-on case with State Mrs. Janai Roberts, is a $9,000 surety reset to August 27th. With regards to our other add-on, Childers, under booking number 2413628, that is going to be a $4,500 split bond. Reset date August 27, pending the accusation to be filed as well. Position 1 on the C calendar, Sir Al Sayuri Allen's 2,500 signature bond through pretrial. Further notice. 2, Burks is a 4,000 split bond. Reset date August 27. 3, Carr is a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial level 2 with DBIP. 4, Ribet Chico is a 2,500 signature bond through pretrial with an ADET. 5, Copeland is a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1. 6, Garcia is a 2,500 split bond. Position 7, was it Cook? Yeah.
Godfrey,
excuse me. And that was a $5,000 surety bond, reset August 27th. Position 8, Joe Harris III is a $2,000 surety bond, reset August 27th. 9, Henderson is a $2,000 surety bond, reset August 27th. 10, Jones is a $1,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1 per judge. Position 11 is a Morrison. That's going to be a 2,500 surety bond, a reset date August 27th. 12, Moss is reset to tomorrow, August 14th. 13, O'Regan is a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial with ADET and DBIP.
what
14,
level, Your Honor? What level?
Level 1.
Thank you.
2.
Was it 2?
Yeah.
I didn't write that down. Okay, make it level 2 then.
Okay.
Because it's got ADET and DBIP. All right, position 14, Owens, is going to be a $4,000 surety bond, reset August 27th. Harold Roberts III, and that's going to be a 1,500 surety bond, reset August 27th. 16, Trey Robinson, that's going to be a $5,000 split bond, reset August 27th.
What's that level?
I've got level 1, unless I changed it along the way.
For Trey Robinson?
No, it's not a level. It's a
That's what we
2,500.
SAP.
It's 2,500 surety on count 1 and 2,500 signature bond through the jail on count.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
17 Stinchcomb is a $1,000 surety bond, reset August 27th. 18 Sullivan is a $3,000 surety bond, reset August 27th. 19 Yakula is a medical reset to August 14th. Whew.
And you
Do I
said
have any-
you said 18 is how much? 1,000?
18, Miss Sullivan is
3,000.
3,000 surety, reset, 2,000 and 1,000.
Thank you.
All right.
And what was Stinchcomb 17?
Stinchcomb 17 is $1,000 surety, further notice to August 27. Stay away from barbecue kitchen. Any other inquiries or corrections?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
All right, folks, thank you very much. Yes, Ms. Conley, we have 2 being reset to tomorrow, and that would be 12 and 19, correct?
And Your Honor, I'm gonna send you the paperwork that I have now. I'm working on that add-on, but I'll be letting you review this here.
All right, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
All right, folks, we will take a recess until tomorrow's C calendar. Have a good evening. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Goodbye.